The sound of joy asterisk the grandfather clock in the marble foyer chimed 6 times as Robert Harrison stepped through the heavy oak doors of his estate. The sound echoed through the vast hallway, bouncing off crystal chandeliers and oil paintings that had watched over 3 generations of his family. He loosened his silk tie with practiced fingers, the weight of another 14-hour day pressing down on his shoulders like an invisible burden. Asterisk. Robert was a man who measured success in numbers, stock prices, quarterly reports, merger deals that moved millions with a signature. At 42, he had built an empire that stretched across 3 continents. Yet, as he stood in his immaculate home, surrounded by all the trappings of wealth, a familiar emptiness settled in his chest. Asterisk. The house felt too quiet, too still. It always did these days. Asterisk 3 years ago, everything had changed. A drunk driver had shattered more than just glass and metal on that rainy Tuesday night. The accident had taken his beloved wife Sarah and left their 7-year-old daughter Emma, with injuries that would require a wheelchair for the rest of her life. The medical bills meant nothing to a man of Robert's means, but the emotional cost had nearly bankrupted his soul. Asterisk. Emma had retreated into herself after the accident, her once bright laughter replaced by silence. The parade of nannies and caregivers had come and went, each one professional but cold, treating Emma like a delicate porcelain doll rather than the spirited child she had been. Robert had thrown himself deeper into work, convincing himself that providing financially was the same as providing emotionally. Asterisk. He set his briefcase down on the marble side table and paused. Something was different tonight. From somewhere upstairs came a sound he hadn't heard in 3 long years. Laughter. Not just any laughter, but Emma's laugh, clear and joyful as church bells on a Sunday morning. Asterisk. Robert's heart stopped for a moment, then began beating double time. He stood frozen at the bottom of the grand staircase, afraid that moving might break whatever spell had brought that precious sound back into his home. The laughter came again, mixed with music, soft, gentle melodies that seemed to dance through the air. Asterisk. His polished leather shoes made no sound on the thick carpet runner as he climbed the stairs. Each step brought the music closer, clearer. It wasn't coming from Emma's room, but from the large playroom at the end of the hall, a room that had sat empty and unused since the accident, too full of memories of running feet and endless games, of hide and seek. Asterisk. The door stood slightly ajar, and Robert approached it like a man walking through a dream. Through the crack, warm lamplight spilled out, painting golden rectangles on the hallway floor. He pressed his back against the wall and peered inside, unprepared for what he would find. Asterisk. There, in the center of the room, was Emma, but she wasn't sitting in her wheelchair as he expected. Instead, she was standing supported by her crutches. Yes, but standing nonetheless. Her face was radiant with joy, her eyes sparkling with the kind of happiness Robert thought had died with her mother. Asterisk. And dancing with her, moving in slow, graceful circles, was someone Robert barely recognized. It was Maria Santos, the quiet woman he had hired as Emma's caregiver just 2 months ago. But this wasn't the same reserved professional who gave him polite reports about Emma's meals and therapy sessions. Asterisk. Maria had let down her usually neat hair, and it flowed around her shoulders as she moved. Her crisp uniform had been replaced with a simple blue dress that swayed with each gentle turn. She held Emma's hands carefully, supporting her weight while making her feel weightless at the same time. Asterisk. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maria counted softly, her voice warm with encouragement. You're doing beautifully, pequeña princesa. Just like your mama used to dance? Asterisk. Emma giggled, a sound so pure and perfect that Robert felt tears prick at his eyes. Tell me again about the story, Emma said, her voice filled with wonder. About the princes who could fly. Asterisk. Maria smiled, spinning Emma gently. Once upon a time, there was a brave princess who had magic in her heart. When people told her she couldn't dance because her legs didn't work the same way as others, she discovered that dancing wasn't about legs at all, it was about joy. And joy can lift you higher than any pair of legs ever could. Asterisk. As they turned, Robert caught sight of Emma's wheelchair nearby. It was decorated with white feathers and ribbons, transformed from a medical device into something that looked almost magical in the soft light. Maria had somehow made even that into part of their game, part of their story. Robert watched, transfixed, as Maria began to sing a gentle lullaby in Spanish, her voice wrapping around Emma like a warm embrace. Emma didn't understand all the words, but she understood the love behind them. She understood that for this moment she wasn't the girl in the wheelchair, the broken daughter, the source of her father's guilt and sorrow. She was simply Emma, dancing and laughing and feeling beautiful. The song ended, and Maria helped Emma settle back into her wheelchair, tucking the feathers around her like a royal cloak. "Time for bed now, mi amor," she said gently. "But remember tomorrow. We can dance again? Promise?" Emma asked, her eyes bright with hope. "I promise," Maria replied, pressing a soft kiss to the top of Emma's head. Robert stepped back into the shadows as they approached the door, his heart full of emotions he couldn't name. As Maria wheeled Emma past, he heard his daughter humming the Spanish lullaby, her voice light and happy. After they disappeared into Emma's bedroom, Robert remained in the hallway for a long time. The playroom stood empty now, but it no longer felt sad or abandoned. It felt full of possibility. The next morning, Robert found himself doing something unprecedented. He stayed home from work. When Maria arrived, her professional mask firmly in place, he asked to speak with her privately. "Last night," he began carefully, "I heard music." Maria's face flushed and she looked down at her hands. "Señor Harrison, I can explain." "No." Robert interrupted gently. "I want to thank you. Emma hasn't laughed like that since ... swallowing hard. Since before the accident, what you did, the dancing, the stories, it brought my daughter back to me." Maria looked up, surprised by the tears in his eyes. "I've been so focused on what she lost that I forgot to see what she still has," Robert continued. "You reminded her that she's still Emma, still whole, still perfect." That evening, Robert did something he hadn't done in 3 years. Instead of working late, he came home for dinner. As he climbed the stairs, he heard that magical sound again, Emma's laughter, mixed with music and Maria's gentle voice. This time, he didn't hide in the shadows. He knocked softly on the playroom door and asked, "May I have this dance?" Emma's face lit up like sunrise, and for the first time since the accident, Robert danced with his daughter. With Maria's help, they turned in slow, careful circles, and Robert discovered what Maria already knew, that love doesn't need legs to soar.